Welcome guys, Marpatkaf here, and today I'm answering your questions. And this one is from a comment on the video creating a belt in Zbrush. And the question is from Dima Kodratenko, right? Yeah. Hi, how do you merge the subtools of the belt and continue to edit them as separate? Time 232. So let's jump to timestamp 232 and see what he needs help with. So pretty much here. Let's go. I said go. There you go. All right. Oh, this is okay. This is moving the topological after I've cut them and remerged them together. I'm just gonna show you. Let's make a tutorial on creating a belt in ZBrush. Very basic shape. Not gonna be it's not gonna be a long episode. It's not gonna be hard episode. Just the very basics. So ZBrush. Here we go. Did I get it right? I did. With the power of editing, I am a god. All right. We have a character that we'll make a belt for. Let's go to Olo. We don't need uh, anything too fancy. Let's solo this. I'm gonna duplicate it, delete higher, delete hidden, and I'm gonna show you why in just a second. Group by normals. Get rid of this. Delete hidden. Dynamash it. There we go. Cool. Now we have this done, and I'm going to let's select this piece. From here to here, late hidden. I'm making just a thing to be easy to work with. So now I have this piece here, and I'm going to zero mesh it. This should be enough. Let's zero mesh it with symmetry. There we go. So why I'm doing this is because if this has, as you can see, this piece here has a hole in the middle. It has, if I try to drag my strap snap and hold shift, as you can see it has different polygroups, and I can fix this, but it's much easier to get something like this. And then I'm going to isolate. Let's do it here. I'm gonna isolate this piece and I'm gonna group it. So now I have a group here, and as you can see this button, it's under your stroke menu and curve functions. I'm gonna go to polygroups, frame mesh, and now I am going to create my belt with something like this as a height. There you go. Let's turn off, whoops, press X, not C, turn off symmetry, create a belt here, perfect. Tap anywhere to get rid of your stroke, unmask, select some piece of the placeholder we create, Control Shift A to show up only it, invert it to get only the belt, delete hidden, and now you have this. It's pretty tiny, not to worry. You can group it by normals, and you can QMesh polygroup island, QMesh holding shift. Now you have a thicker belt, uh, even thicker. You want it? Okay, let's make it even thicker. This should be enough. Yeah, it is enough. Okay, so now we have this, and this is I just show you a different form of generation. Instead of holding shift and dragging to create a circular curve, this is how I usually do it. It's easier for me. It gets a better curve. So now right off the bat, what I can do is I can turn on my transparency, and I can group by normals and edit the thickness with QMesh polygroup island holding shift to make it a little bit thick on the outside, like this. All right, let's get out of transparency, which is this button here. So now we have this, and from this we'll create our belt. And to get to the point where you asked for, I'm just gonna duplicate it, and from those two pieces we'll create another piece. And now I want the front part of the belt to reach somewhere around here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hide this, and here it's better to turn off double because you want to you don't want to cut something like this. So from here, and it will go all the way to here, let's say. Yep. So there you go. I'm gonna hide all of those, invert it, and delete hidden. Let's turn off dynamic mesh. It was on for some reason. So now I have this front part of the bell, and from the other identical piece, I have to cut the backside where the belt buckle will be. So what I'll do is I'll come to where the belt buckle will be. So about here. Okay, that's good enough. I can always tweak it later. And then to here. So I'm just gonna get rid of this part as well. So now I have those two parts. And do you see where this is going? I hope you do. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna let's turn off double here as well. And double, by the way, is in your display properties. There you go, if you want to double from here. And I'm gonna delete hidden here, and I'm gonna get rid of Dynamash because I inherited it because I'm stupid and I didn't turn it off sooner. So now all I have to do is I have to merge down the two parts I cut. And now I have this, which is basically the same thing if you but it's two separate pieces of geometry. And if I go to polygroups, auto groups, as you can see, it creates different groups, which means those are different geometries. And now here comes the fun part. So from here, what I can do is I can mask this part, this small part where I will later merge those points. And from here, I'm gonna come to my brush menu, and there are two ways to do it. I have both of my ways here in my UI, I think, but let's show it in the brush menu. In the brush, if you go to auto masking, I think it was, yeah, there are two ways. One is what I did in the video, which is the topological brush. And the topological brush will move only the topology I hover my mouse on, or my pen in this case. There you go. So now I have this little piece here. Let's give it a proper thing. All right. So now I can move those. Since I auto group it like this, and they are different groups, I can, instead of doing the topological movement, I can also mask by polygroups to 100 and move the same. It will behave, my move brush will behave the same way. The difference between those two is, I mean, in this case it's none. All you have to be aware of is that the topological, if I have topological on and I go to standard brush, topological is off. But if I have my mask by polygroups and I go from standard to Damian standard, BDS, there you go, it will remain at 100%. So the mask by polygroups is a global function, global option, or setting, or whatever, while the topological is individual for each brush you select. Anyway, we're getting sidetracked. So we separated those pieces, and now I can clear my mask. And if I dynamically subdivide it, let's get rid of this. If I dynamically subdivide it, as you can see, those are not welded. I will go to remedy this. I'll go to my geometry, modified topology, and I'll go to weld points. and now you have those welded. If you go and press, but since we move those a little bit, separate them a little bit, they will not weld here, which is what we want. And if you now go to auto groups and auto group it as much as you want, you will still get only one polygroup because it's now one piece of geometry. Let's turn off double. And from here on, what I would usually do is, because when you move things like this, and by the way, once you do this and you group it all as one, the move mask by polygroups will not work for you anymore because it's, well, one polygroup, but the topological will still work, as you can see. Now, since the movement is, it's pretty low geometry and it shouldn't be wonky at all, but sometimes it gets wonky, it gets different thickness when you use the move brush. What I usually do from this point on is I group by normals once again, and with the lasso I come and hover over an edge and Control Shift tap it, and that isolates only this edge. Let's turn off double again so you can see. In terms of only this edge. This is function for the lasso, not the select rect. So now, once I have this, I'm going to delete hidden, get my guide back, and with double on, I am going to hover anywhere with the zmodeler brush. And if I do Q mesh, there is a very good chance that it will weld here. It will kind of compress them. So what I want to do is I am going to extrude polygroup O instead of Q mesh. And with the extrude, even if faces protrude each other to one another, I'm sorry, it's too early for me to talk proper English, but if they protrude to one another, it will not stick together. So now I can, since I have double, I can see when I push back. So I'm gonna push back until I have the depth, the thickness I require, yes, and then I will turn off double. As you can see now, I have those faces are reversed. So I'm gonna go to flip to get the faces I want, and now I have the same thing, but now I'm sure that everywhere has the same thickness. And from this point on, in the video, I think I created the belt buckle and a little ornament for this part. I'm not going to do this now because I don't have time. What I'm going to do very quickly is how I did two things. The first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to create a little bit of a stitching on the belt and holes for the pin of the belt buckle. So first I am going to use my zmodeler for now, and I'm going to create a line right down the middle. So how I do it is I select multiple edge loops with a specified resolution of 1. I do this, and this you will normally do after you've created the belt buckle and you moved your belt accordingly, so the belt buckle to protrude here. You can then switch points. You can slide your edge loops to create a you know what, it's gonna be, I'm just gonna fast forward. So the next thing you will see is a time lapse. I will do a small ornament and a small belt buckle with a time lapse, and then I'll come back and show you what I mean. So power of editing, let's move to warp speed now. back from warp speed. And this is the belt with it. As you can see, it's a one piece here. Um, it's probably not the prettiest belt buckle and ornament. It's just basically just something basic that I can show you what you can do from here on. And what you want to do from here on is we want to create some stitching on the belt, and we want to create some holes for it. At least this is what I'm going to do with this belt. If you want, uh, you can UV this little piece here, create noise, create some nice good noise plug effect on it. But I'm not gonna do this. I will just apply later on in the substance. Uh, from now, for now, it's one. As you can see, it's one subtool, the buckles and the ornaments and everything. And I don't think I need this for now, so I'm gonna auto group it. I'm gonna select this group and select this piece, and I'm gonna split it. There we go. Alright, so now we can work only on this. Actually, yeah, let's do it like this. Okay, so now what I want to do is first I want to have an edge right down the middle. So I'm gonna go to insert multiple edge loops with specified resolution of 1. I'm gonna put it here, and then I'm gonna do the same here, like, yeah, actually, okay, let's do this. So I'm gonna do the same here and here. You can probably go, if you are not super pedantic and you don't want to have it right at the same spot, you can probably very well create something like this. Something like this, just eyeball it. It should be good. And now you have the places where you will create your stitching on the for the letter, and the middle part from which you will create your holes in the belt. Uh, let's start with the hose. So I'm just gonna uncrease all because right now it's kind of messy. So geometry, crease, uncrease all, and I am going to hover over an edge and select slide, edge loop complete, and I'm just gonna slide it a little bit, and then I'm gonna slide this one to be kind of where the hole. Actually, you know what? Let's try it as it were. Um, there we go. So how I create the holes is I split the points with zmodeler. So let's create this one first. So I'm gonna come here, hover over a point, and in the point action I'm gonna select split a point, and I'm gonna create this. But yeah, let's create this. And now once I have the thickness I want, all I have to do is I have to click like this. Whoops. Let's see. 1. Okay, 1 is 1. So like this, and we'll give one more here. And now once I have this, let's give it one more. There we go. Sorry, I did this I kind of messed up. There you go. So now I have to do this on the other side as well, and just have in mind that they have to kind of align with each other. So there, and 1, 2, 3 more. So 1, 2, 3 more. There you go. And now once I have this, all I have to do is I have to hover over an edge and QMesh, polygroup all, and QMesh this in, and now we have this beautiful holes for our belt. There we go. If you want, you can create a ring here the same way that we generated the whole belt. You can hide everything but this group. You can go to, and since those edges are creased because we creased them, you can go to crease edges, frame the mesh, frame mesh. Oh, it didn't. Okay, well, you can go to border, crease it with let's do it with the tube. Where is curve tube? and you can, so frame mesh with the tube, and let's give it a resolution of 1. There you go. And now this is not the perfect ring for it because it's the default curve, the default tube. It's pretty donut-y. It looks like a donut. You can probably modify it from here, but if you want to have the perfect control, of course, I would advise to make yourself nice rings, and then in an R2, and then create a curve brush from it. Anyway, we will leave the holes like this for now, simply because I'm not gonna do rings for the holes. So let's bring those. And now we have the stitching to make. So to make the stitching, it's easy. I am going to go to my select lasso and select this one and this one and this one. And now it has a little bit of it creates a little bit of an issue here. And let's see if we can get away with it. If not, we can just duplicate this and yeah, okay. So this will be a pain in the ass to do it like this. What I can do is I can duplicate this one, and then I'm just gonna go on the other. I'm just gonna go with the duplicate original where I have history, and I'm going to go to this part here. There you go. And I'm going to go to insert multiple edge loops, and this is just a placeholder once again. Uh, yes, I want to delete insert multiple edge loop interactive resolution, and let's delete hidden. In no specified elevation interactive resolution. There you go. Now I can create something like this. All right. And now I'm going to select this polygroup and this polygroup. Let's first delete all these. There you go. Let's delete them. And the reason I'm deleting them is just because I want the curves to be better suited. There you go. And now we can select only this, auto group it, get only this. This is probably something of a long way to do it. There is a shorter way, I'm sure, but this one I think will work well enough for me. So I'm going to select only this piece and only this piece. There you go. I'm going to delete the rest, frame the mesh with my, you can go, if you want, you can create your own stitch, otherwise in the brush section of your lightbox, there is a beta tester's brush that comes with the program, and there is 2 stitches. Let's do this one, and now I can frame the mesh and simply hit this one. This is way too small, so let's do a little bit bigger size. Well, that's too much. There we go. This should work. And now I can delete the stroke because we don't need it anymore. Delete the curve rather. I can select those two and those two, and I can delete hidden. And now I have myself stitching. From here on, you can get this part, of course, subdivided with real geometry this time. Let's adjust the creasing. So I want the crease level to be 3 and the dynamic subdivision to be 4. Let's see. Normals crease PG. It's a long project to save. There you go. This is pretty much what I want. I'm gonna apply those. now we have real subdivisions, and with the real subdivisions you can start sculpting, or you can dynamize this whole thing, sculpt it and project the parts you want, and or you can do all this stitching also can be done in inside Substance. It's actually easier, but for something like this you can also use ZBrush. You can use ZBrush pretty much everything, but yeah, you can use it for this as well. And this, guys, was how to create a belt in ZBrush. Now with these same techniques you can create a much better belt, much cooler belt if you spend more time. I kind of did this for about 15 minutes. With my blabbering it's about 20, I'm not sure, but with this series of things you will be able to create almost anything, any belt or strap that you want. I'm not gonna keep this, no offense. I'm gonna kinda redo it, but yeah. So thanks for watching. I hope I answered your question, Mr. or Miss or Mrs. or whatever your gender is. I'm sorry, the name is not pretty clear. So yeah, Dima Kodra Tenko, this was your question, and this was my answer.